All right, we are on YouTube for the first time here at The Volume. I'm Chris Mannix. Usually you listen to my boxing podcast over at The Volume, but as many of you know, also an NBA writer with Sports Illustrated. So I'm going to do this from time to time, kind of after some big games, try to break them down, talk about what I saw and what it means moving forward. And I just came from TD Garden, where the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Boston Celtics in Game 5. If you had asked me at the start of the fourth quarter if I thought I'd be saying that after the game, I would have said absolutely not. The Bucks were down 14 points with 10 minutes to play. And every variable you could possibly take into account told you Milwaukee wasn't going to win. Boston, best defense in the NBA. Had been really since January 1st, overall best defense for the entire season. Milwaukee, Giannis, awesome. Everybody else, not so much. Going into that fourth quarter, the Bucks only had two players in double figures. It was Giannis and Jrue Holiday. And Holiday had 16 points, but he took 16 shots to get there. So I never believed the Bucks were going to mount that kind of comeback. But they did. And let's kind of look at how they did in this game. Giannis continued to be great. He made a three-pointer in the fourth. He'd been bad at that really all series. So he knocked it down. And then the role players started to get involved. Pat Connaughton, he made a couple of three-pointers. Wesley Matthews, he made a three-pointer. I think the Bucks were like 6 for 6 from three-point range in that fourth quarter. Jrue Holiday, he made big shots in the fourth quarter. So they were able to chip away at that Celtics lead by spreading the offense around and getting contributions from guys that up until that point had not given them anything. I mean, when I say not given anything, the second quarter, Giannis had 15 points. No other starter scored in that period, and the bench only gave them 4 in the second. So nobody was really contributing for most of this game besides Giannis. So they chipped away at the lead that way. And the Celtics, they just laid an egg. You know, the Celtics, for the first couple of months of the season, offensively, were like this isolation-heavy, your turn, my turn type of team. The fourth quarter was more of that. It was a flashback to the bad old days of the Celtics, where it was Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, just taking ill-timed shots, contested shots, bad three-pointers, you name it, they took it. So the Bucks got into the game that way. But even still, the Celtics were still in a position to win with just about 30 seconds left. That's when Giannis went to the free throw line, down 2 points, made the first, missed the second. Bobby Portis, by the way, was great. Bobby Portis played 15 minutes in Game 4. Out of the rotation, basically. Comes out 28 minutes in Game 5, gets a key rebound and a putback, puts the Bucks up 1. Celtics come down the other end. They call a timeout. Now, timeouts are where coaches make their bread and butter. This is where they make their bones as NBA coaches. I don't know what the Celtics play call coming out of that timeout was. What it ended up being was Marcus Smart collecting the inbounds pass, driving baseline, looking like he had an angle on, I believe it was Grayson Allen or Pat Connaughton, only to have Jrue Holiday block his shot. That was one of the best blocks you've seen during these playoffs. Jrue Holiday came out of nowhere. Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure he can respect that on some level. Jrue Holiday, huge block shot. Then has the presence of mind to throw the ball off Marcus Smart to get the possession back. They go down, Pat Connaughton 2 free throws. Then Holiday makes another steal as the Celtics come back up the floor on Smart to seal the game and put it away. I used this quote or this phrase in my column up at SI.com. Like, championship DNA is an overused phrase in sports media. We say it all the time. It's kind of like a throwaway line. Like, oh, that team showed that championship DNA. The Bucks, they showed championship DNA in this game. Like, they could have packed it in, down 14, gone back to Milwaukee, said, look, let's get one here. Let's figure it out then in Game 7. They didn't. They kept chipping away, played great defense, trusted each other. That's a big part of it. Like, for Giannis and Holiday to trust guys like Matthews and Connaughton and Allen, all those other guys, Portis, that shows you just how good the chemistry is within that team. And they were able to kind of put that all together over the final 6-7 minutes and get the job done. Now, let's move it forward a little bit because the Celtics, their backs are against the wall here. How do they get out of it? Well, a couple things jump to mind. Jayson Tatum needs to step up. Jayson Tatum had 34 points in Game 5. It's a good number. On paper, you look at that and say, oh, Jayson Tatum had a good game. Took him 29 shots to get it. That's not efficient offense. He had some good moments, but that was not a great Jayson Tatum game. And Jayson Tatum has not had a great game in this series. Tatum had an excellent second half of Game 2. He had a difference-making fourth quarter in Game 4. But he has yet to put together a complete game. And Jayson Tatum, in his core, believes he's one of the top 5 or 6 players in the NBA. The NBA MVP balloting just came out. He finished 6th overall. I voted Tatum for 5 on my ballot. Tatum believes he's among the elite. If you're among the elite, you've got to play like it in times like this. Jayson Tatum, his team facing elimination, needs to have the game of all games, needs to have the game of his life. I know the Bucks are tough defensively. Holiday, as good on ball as you'll get in this league. Matthews, he's been pretty good as well. That back line of Giannis, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, they're tough to drive against. They're long, they're athletic, they know how to block without fouling. Doesn't matter. Tatum has to find a way to crack that defense and have a monster efficient game in Game 6. The other correction the Celtics need to make, got to change up the defense on Giannis. Al Horford has been really good in this series, especially offensively. Look at what he did in Game 4. That was awesome. Grant Williams, not having a great series, but a good defensive player and a physical defensive player. Daniel Tice, he only plays when Robert Williams can't, and who knows what Robert Williams is going to be for the rest of the series. You got to change things up. The adjustment I would make is I would put Marcus Smart on Giannis from the opening tip. Now, Marcus Smart gives up like 10 inches, 9 inches, whatever it is, 50 pounds, whatever. But Giannis is playing kind of downhill every single offensive possession. He's going straight to the basket. And when he sees a bigger player against him, whether it's Horford, Grant, Williams, or Tice, he's kind of Euro-stepping around them. And those guys aren't athletic enough and aren't quick enough to stay with him. Now, Giannis can take Smart to the post and bust him up all day long on traditional post-ups. He's just too big, too strong, too long. But he's not going to be able to get downhill against Smart as easily as he did against those other guys. Why? Because Smart is smaller, quicker, and a overall savvier defensive player. What he's going to do is try to step into the lane first and draw the charge on Giannis. We saw him do it during, I think it was the fourth quarter of Game 5. And what you want to do in these situations defensively is get Giannis thinking. Like, you want him not driving and going to the rim and doing it all kind of in one swooping motion. You want him thinking, all right, I got to be careful here. I got to step around Smart. I can't go straight at him. I don't want to get into foul trouble. You want to get in his mind a little bit because he's having his way out there. 40 points in 40 minutes. He had 42 in Game 3 in that win, 34 in Game 4 in the loss. You got to get up into his head a little bit and make him think. So those are the two adjustments. I don't know if it means the Celtics will win, but I don't think they're done in this series because the Bucks miss Chris Middleton. Like, he's not there. So they're reliant on Jrue Holiday putting up like 25 shots per game, which is not his thing. They need Pat Connaughton to make shots. They need Grayson Allen to make shots. They need a lot of things to go right offensively that you can't necessarily be sure are going to go right offensively. Celtics, they're very much still in this, but things got to change going into Game 6. Tatum, this is your moment. This is your superstar moment. We saw Giannis have superstar moments during the playoffs last year. We've seen him in this series have superstar moments. If Tatum wants to be a superstar, he's got to have superstar moments. Game 6 is where it happens. And Ime Udoka, who got a second-place vote on my Coach of the Year ballot, I think he's as good as it gets in the NBA when it comes to strategizing and coaching. He's got to figure something out because what's happening with Giannis defensively isn't working right now. So those are the two adjustments you make. We'll see what happens. Game 6 on Friday. Hey, maybe I'll come back on YouTube and do this again.